Hey everybody, Mega Ruler 31 back here for FSI DFS. Got up at 4:30 this morning because it's a large slate. Got all 15 teams, we got 15 games, so all 30 teams are playing on DK. FanDuel doesn't have St. Louis and Chicago because they have a doubleheader today, so we got a lot to cover. No small talk today. Let's just get right into and blow through. Yesterday was kind of a weird day. I felt like we were back in April with all the rain and like the totals are super low. There's two teams that scored four. It was the Yankees and Milwaukee against the Dodgers, and everybody else was like 2-1 or like super low scoring. Totals look low today. We are loaded, absolutely loaded with pitching options today against bad teams. So I don't think you can go wrong in a lot of different directions. So I just want to blow through these games quickly and show you some lineups and just know that there's a lot of different ways you can go and pivot. There shouldn't be many duplicate lineups tonight, and it should be a very fun slate to play. First game, Atlanta and Pittsburgh, Max Fried and Brubaker. Fried definitely in play. Pittsburgh's not really good against lefties. Especially, you might not even see Cruz in the lineup here because he's horrible against lefties, being a lefty. And then Brubaker on the other side, no interest against the Braves. The Braves, I think, could be a cash stack. I think they're my fourth favorite here against Brubaker. Not a bad pitcher, but it's not really a great hitting ballpark, but they're a good offense. And especially just keep in mind Grissom down here, Ron Grissom, he's only like 2-3 on DK. Second baseman, he's a pretty good prospect, been hitting pretty well recently. So there's a cheap savings person I just want to call out there. Pittsburgh, nothing, leverage sack maybe, but nothing really exciting there. Mets and Yankees, a little bit of rain potentially, 30%. Looks like it'll be fine. You have Tijon Walker and Montas. Walker has been good recently, but on one against the Yankees. Montas has been decent recently, but not super interested. Maybe like in the cheaper range, like even at 7.9 is what we're calling cheap pitcher today, just because you have so many good high priced ones in the top 10. So keep him in the 150 max player pool. I don't think he'd be in my 20 max player pool at all. Mets are usually a decent matchup, and both these teams are in the 150 max or GPP because you got two decent pitchers and you've got two offenses that can be really good at times, and especially the Yankees not really good. So I'm just not super interested. I think there's like about 10 other ways I'd go above these guys. So keep them in your GPP pools, but I wouldn't play one-offs or anything in cash. White Sox and Orioles, Dylan Cease and Voss. Cease's had an amazing season. He's been really solid this year, so definitely in contention for your SP1, or if you're paying up for two pitchers in your pool there. Voth on the other side, not interested in this matchup, even though the White Sox have struggled at times. There's just so many good pitchers today and so many better guys in the lower range that just cross them right off there. No interest. White Sox bats, both these teams go in the leftover bin. I don't think, unless you're multi-entering, that either one really makes sense to play anybody or even only one-offs today. Reds and Phillies just had this matchup. It was 1-0, and I think actually the Reds won. Might be wrong on that, but Lodolo did really well against them, and actually he's 9K here. I think he's might be the lowest of the top pitchers today to consider for an SP2, unless you want to be really different, go down. But I think pitching is priority on the slate with such low totals and such really good pitchers against bad teams. Now Philly's not a bad team, but they're banged up. Baum might be out now. Like they're still missing Harper. I know he's doing some rehab starts, so he's not back yet. And they are pretty right-handed heavy team, but I really think that Lodolo has enough to neutralize them. I made a mistake of stacking Philly against them last time. It just didn't work out. So I think Lodolo's in play here. Ranger Suarez is definitely in play on the other side. He's been pretty solid recently, and this matchup against Cincinnati is a really good one for him. So Cincinnati would just be a cheap stack, and Philly, I think, would be probably one of the top stacks, but probably like way down. I just focus on the right-handed batters if you are playing them, but there's so many other teams that I think I would, not so many, but probably about 5 other teams that I consider above them. Toronto and Boston, a little bit of rain here. It's about 30%, but looks like it's going to taper off by game time. So maybe a delay. They should be able to get it in. It's the same situation as yesterday. Strickland and Wisconsin, not interested in either one of these pitchers. Wisconsin is definitely a fade. Stripling maybe in your 150 max, but Boston's starting to get put it together again. So starting to get healthy. So the Blue Jays, I don't think Springer's going to be in. He's dealing with a knee injury. Even if he is in, I'm really not going to pay that price for him. Only because like one of his things is like stealing bases and speed and stuff. And if his knee's bothering him, I just don't have a bad feeling. Don't have a good feeling about that. Plenty of Blue Jays you can stack here. I think they were my third favorite stack of the day. And Boston would be a decent GPP stack against Stripling. I believe he's a little bit of a reverse splits guy, so the right-handed guys, but Devers hits both sides well, so he's definitely in play there if you play a Boston stack. San Francisco and Detroit, Carlos Rendon, dream matchup against the Tigers here. Drew Hutchinson on the other side, no interest whatsoever, definitely a fade. Rendon, highest price pitcher on DK FanDuel, I think he's the third highest pitcher, so definitely a little bit of a discount there. Giants always favorite cheap stack, just pinch hit risk for them. Have a couple guys banged up, so they might have some guys stay a little bit longer, but definitely gonna look at the lefties here: Stromsky, Wade, Peterson, Crawford's really cheap, so definitely a decent fill-in stack with any top-end stack, and you can pay up for pitchers also and get some good bats in there with them. Detroit on the other side, no interest whatsoever. Maybe just a leverage stack if Rondon's going to have a lot of ownership, but I don't really see him struggling in this matchup. Angels and Tampa Bay, Suarez and Kluber. Jose Suarez actually looks like he's got a decent matchup here against Tampa Bay, who's struggled. Like Lau is back out of the lineup again. He might be back in here again, but he's a lefty on lefties, so probably takes Troy out of the lineup. They'll probably load up on righties here, and you have some decent ones in there, right? Rainza, Margot's decent, but you do have some strikeouts also, especially in the bottom of this lineup. So I think Suarez is definitely safe to play. I think you don't really need him at 6-6 here, but I think he's definitely in the conversation. Kluber also against the Angels. I don't know if Ohtani will be back from his sickness or not. He was scratched yesterday. You have Trout back, but you're pretty much a right-handed lineup with a lot of strikeouts. Cooper's not a high strikeout guy, but I think at 7-7 here, he can work in a GPP as an SP2 if you want to be a little bit different, pay out for bats. Second half of the doubleheader, St. Louis and Cubs. It looks like it's Jake Woodford and Sampson. I've seen other pitchers, but I'm not interested in any situation here. And even bat-wise, I think they just go on your 150 maxes. There's so many other different. You don't know who's going to play once this lineup comes out. It's probably going to come out maybe after lock, depending on how long the first game takes. So it's in Wrigley. It looks like the wind's blowing in, so the weather's not a factor as a positive. So just going to scratch this game off. We have 14 other games to worry about, so let's move on. Minnesota and Houston. Aaron Sanchez, absolutely not. Horrible. It's got like an 80 ERA. Houston, top stack on the slate here against him. Verlander, good matchup against Minnesota. I mean, they've got some good bats here. They're hot and cold, so Minnesota would be a leverage stack. Verlander, I think I'd take Ray or Rondon over him, or maybe even Cisse. It's really close with he and Cisse, but I think Verlander just gets the by a hair because Baltimore's just been pretty solid recently. Houston bats on the other side, definitely one of my favorite ones. Don't think Altuve is going to be in the lineup. Just he might be heading towards the IL. They did call up a guy to kind of replace him on Sunday. They had yesterday off, but I think he's dealing with like a groin injury and something else. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's not in the lineup. And if he is, again, the same thing as Springer. I'm just not playing him until I know he's 100% because you're paying up for attributes that might not be there if they're not 100%. Arizona and Kansas City. Zach Davies, I think he's in play here as a cheaper pitcher at 6.5 against Kansas City. They really scare me a lot. Heasley on the other side is definitely a no. Arizona is, I think, is a very cheap, not cheap because some of the guys are priced up in the 4K range and 5K range, like Rojas and Marte, but I think they definitely make a decent GPP stack here. I think they've got a lot of potential here, and their totals decent compared to some of the other teams. Heasley or Kansas City on the other side, I'm not super interested in at all. I think maybe as a cheap stack, some of the guys potentially against Davies, I could focus on some of the lefties here. Other than that, nothing really much from that game. Coors Field we have on the slate, Texas and Colorado. I think I'm going to fade both of these offenses today. I might take a Texas stack and a Colorado stack in GPP, but I'm not interested in the cash. It just seems the first game there. not really worked out really well. You have Dane Dunning and Marquez. Of course, you're not going to play either one of these pitchers. Both of them have been decent this year at times. Marquez has struggled a lot more. I thought he'd be a much better pitcher. So, if you want to play cores, that's fine. But I think I'm going to prioritize pitching, and I'd rather play like Houston or Toronto. Maybe take some one-offs from these games here. Marlins and A's, Pablo Lopez and Zach Logue. I think you could probably play both of these pitchers. Like Lopez is a decent guy, and I think he's got a lot of potential in the future. I think this is a good matchup for him. Definitely. Logue on the other side, it's not a good pitcher, but I think, if you really want to dumpster dive against the Marlins, there might be some opportunity here. Marlins only have a 4 total, so it's not like that Vegas expects them to completely destroy Logue. So I mean, both are risky, but if you're playing multi-entry, then that's fine. The offense is the same thing. I think Miami might just be a cheap stack against Logue because he's not a horrible pitcher, but not a great pitcher. And then if you look on the other side, like for the A's, I think just go in the leftover bin. Again, it's Lopez. I think he'll do enough just to. This game could be like 3-2 or something like that. And it could be the bullpens that decide it. So not super interested there. Cleveland Guardians and San Diego Padres, Civale and Clevenger. Not interested in either one of these pitchers. Civale, just San Diego's got a really good offense here, even though they have a super high total. And then Clevenger on the other side. Cleveland's just such a tough matchup. If you want to play these teams, I think Cleveland would just be in the 150 max because I do have some respect for Clevenger, but I just don't think Clevenger does enough in the matchup to be relevant in DFS today. And San Diego on the other side, I think goes in the GPP player pool there. Prefer Colorado and Seattle over them, but I think I like them a little bit more than like Boston or Arizona, but they're expensive to get in. If you can make it work, then that's cool. If not, then that's fine. Dodgers and Brewers, you got 2 good pitchers here, Corbin Burnes and Goslin. I think Burnes shut him down last time. I think it was like decided by the bullpen. I think it was like 2-1 or 1-2 or something. It was a really close game last time out that they faced each other. So again, both these pitchers I think are in play in a GPP. The offense, you got 2 good pitchers, 2 good offenses. We don't know which direction this is going to go. It's 14 game slate, so there's another one. Cross this one off also, like we crossed off St. Louis and Chicago. We're still down to 13 games with plenty of options. So final game, Nationals and Seattle. We have Fetty and Robbie Ray. Robbie Ray, Washington struggled. Ray is just in really good form. If you look at it, especially his FanDuel box scores, he's had like 50s and 60s recently. He had one bad outing in between there, but I don't think that's going to be the case today. I think he's going to have probably my favorite pitcher on the slate here, especially for DK and FanDuel also. So I think I'm going to prioritize him over everyone. So Washington would just be a leverage stack or leftovers. Like not even playing anybody on Washington here. I don't even if you stack the righties, I don't think that they have enough to get against Ray. In Seattle, I really like against Fetty. He's really struggled. So second favorite GPP stack. I'll definitely be playing some of them today. So let's just go run through things quickly again for those listening on the podcast. Ray and Rondon, Verlander, my top pitcher, Cisse in there too. Burnes, GPP only on the high end. Medium, Fried from Atlanta, Lopez, Suarez, Goslin, GPP only, and Lodolo, I think, is really intriguing against the banged up Philly offense. And cheap, Kluber, but, a little bit risky there against the Angels with like Trout back. But I think he gets enough done. Montez, Suarez from the Angels is in here too. Logue against the Marlins again could potentially be a little bit risky there. And Zach Davies for Arizona against KC. I'm fading Dunn, Marquez, Sanchez from Washington, Hutchinson, and Wisconsin from Boston, and no interest in anybody from the St. Louis Cubs game. Clevenger, Brubaker, Tijon Walker against the Yankees, Stripling against Boston, Heasley, Voss, Seavel, and Fetty. So top stacks are like Houston, Texas, and Coors, although I might be like fading Coors here just as the first game sometimes just doesn't work out really well. Toronto, Atlanta, and Philly. GPP, Colorado, Seattle, really like them there in their matchups against Fatty. San Diego, Boston, Arizona, really like them against KC. Cheap, San Francisco makes a lot of things work, just pinch hit risk. Kansas City, Miami, Tampa Bay, and Cincinnati, I think, have matchups where they can get some hits against their pitchers, and then leverage Dodgers and Milwaukee, very low ownership. You have some decent hitting teams against decent pitchers. Minnesota, Detroit, and Pittsburgh against really good pitchers there. And then just 150 max would be Yankees, Mets, St. Louis, Chicago, and Cleveland. And then I'm really kind of crossing off the White Sox, Baltimore, the Angels, Oakland, and Washington today. So let's just talk about some builds and get you on your way for your day. So Ray, top pitcher, Cisse or Fried if you're SP2, depending on how much you have. Catcher, probably going to punt. There's a lot of 2K options are great. Houston's my primary stack. Mancini, if you can get up to him. Gurriel's nice savings there. Going to take Brad Miller in Texas if he's playing. I think he's a minimum price. He's a lefty against a righty in Coors Field. So has some power. Just going to at 2K, if I get a 0, that's fine. It's better than taking a 0 at a higher amount. So finishing off the Houston stack, I want Bregman. I don't think Altuve is going to be in, so that's why I'm not playing with second base. Shortstop, and we've opened Alvarez and Tucker. I'm thinking look for McCormick or some other guy to lead off. If Altuve's not there, then he's definitely the 5th guy I want from Houston. So make sure he's in your lineup and arrange other things other than that. So then you can just take some one-offs, throw some San Francisco guys, however you want to make that work. FanDuel taking Ray, same thing, Mancini or Gurriel stacking San Francisco with Houston to the Flores, Bregman. Shortstop, you can take Crawford, or if the Houston guy's leading off, then you want him there. Alvarez, Jack Peterson, Tucker, if if Altuve's in there, and I'm still not playing Altuve, and then you can just finish off like Wade Jr., Stremsy, Belt, whoever else you can fit in as a left-hander to finish with San Francisco. So San Francisco and Houston with Ray. GPP for DK, if you can get up to Rondon, that's great. I think I'm going Suarez and Suarez, taking both of them. So if you want Rondon, you're going to have to punt catcher. If not, take Kirk. I'm going to leave first base open, let you decide on Vlad or not. I usually don't play him here. I think I might go one off here. I might take Lau from Texas. He's got the lefty righty matchup in Coors Field as a one off there. And then going Rojas, Bichette, Rivera at third base, Gurriel, and Hernandez. Again, I said I don't like Springer here because I don't think he's 100%. And then take an Arizona guy or one off in outfield. And then for GPP, taking Rondon, I think I can definitely get up to him. Stacking Arizona and the Blue Jays here. So Kirk or Vlad, second base, decide if you want to take a one-off, or if you want to take an Arizona guy. Rojas from third base, I want. If you can also pay down for Rivera, who plays third base also, is about 1,000 cheaper if you need the money there. Bichette, Gurriel, Tino Hernandez. Remember, I'm skipping Springer, and then I'll probably fill out the rest with make sure I have 4 Blue Jays in there, and then fill in the rest with Arizona or one-off. So that's what we have for you today. If you check out the comments around 6:30 if anything changes. We try to post an update. We had some weather concerns yesterday. Shouldn't have too much today. Or you leave questions in the comments below to try to do to help you out. You hit me up on Twitter, Megro31. Video helps you, please like it. It just helps it get out to so many other people to bring them into our community of viewers. And share with your friends, subscribe to our channel. When all our videos coming out. Got a lot of great stuff going on heading into the fall. A lot of good things will be happening in college football and pro football and stuff. So looking forward to it. Look forward to finishing strong in baseball. So thanks for watching. I'm Megro31. Good luck in your contest tonight in this monster slate with lots of fun options. And we'll see you next time.